This is one-on-one session with the Forum IAS founder and director Ayush Sinha. In this session, students are asked questions to test their preparedness for the personality test. One-on-one sessions are not mock panel sessions.
So can we begin by introducing yourself to me?
Sir. So my name is Anjali Verma and I am a native of Rae Bareli. I have done my graduation from BA LLB Honors from National Law University, Lucknow. And in my free time, I like to read and exercise, and I look forward to joining civil services one day.
All right, Anjali. So you're from Rae Bareli. Bareli. What is Rae Bareli famous for?
Uh, so generally, it is known for Congress constituency in general. And as far as domestic products are concerned, it is known for its woodwork sometimes, but it's not as it exclusively famous for that. But woodwork here is well known around in local areas.
So Rae Bareli in particular, is Bareli and Rae Bareli different?
Yes, sir. So these two are different districts.
What is the reference and why is this called Rae Bareli and the other is Bareli?
Sir, Bareilly is a separate district, lies in northern UP, whereas Rae Bareli, it is just a nomenclature that has come up on the names of the rulers who used to rule here, which were majorly Rais and Bharels. These were Rajputs.
Okay. So I don't know Rae Bareli, but I know Bareli. So can you tell
Hmm.
me Bollywood in popular culture, how has
Hmm.
it highlighted Bareli?
Sir, I am not aware about Bareilly as far.
No, so in Bollywood, in Hindi films,
Hmm.
Bareilly in particular has been made popular. You don't have to be from Bareilly to know that.
Sir,
Can
I am sorry, sir. I do not watch movies. Sir. Almost do not watch any of the movies.
Sure, all right. Good. So you are a lawyer.
Yes, sir.
The Supreme Court, it is said, newspapers have reported that has put on hold the sedition law.
Yes, sir.
What is your opinion on it? Should we scrap the sedition law?
Sir, sedition law has been in discussion for decades, as far as I'm concerned. Starting from it has been in controversy since the independence itself. So, Law Commission has recommended in a paper recently, as well as in 39th, as well as 42nd law paper, that sedition law has been very often misused for political ends. It has said that it does not, as far as the situation currently stands, it does not even exist in UK. It has been abolished, but we have this law which suppresses the right to liberty as well as freedom of speech and expression of the citizens concerned. And what sedition law punishes is disaffection towards the government. And I believe no citizen of India could be forced to have affection towards government. Towards the country is a different thing, but towards forcing affection towards government is a little bit too coercive, and we have seen therefore it has been very often misused, and it is time it should be scrapped indeed.
All right. What is the Supreme Court's exact position currently?
The Supreme Court's sedition law had been guided still far since the 1962 judgment by Kedarnath law, which was if there is a incitement to violence, exactly incitement to violence should be there before the law should be applied. However, we have seen that it is not followed, and yesterday Supreme Court has put a stay on the implementation of the law. So anyone who is in prison on charges of sedition could apply for bail, and no new arrests would be made under this law.
With respect to marital rape,
So.
the court wants the government to state its position. What is
Hmm.
your opinion on recognizing marital rape as a separate offense?
Sir, marital rape as a separate offense is recognized in more than 100 jurisdictions across the globe, and India is one of the minority countries not recognizing it. And I believe that marital status, which is the relationship between the victim and the perpetrator, does not change the status of the crime concerned. It is a violation of dignity of the person concerned, violation of her privacy, and violation of her basic human rights. So it should be in fact criminalized. And the second argument, which is generally given, is that there would not be any proof. It would be hard to come up with substantive evidences. So as far as that is concerned, it should not be a basis for government to criminalize or not to criminalize. It should, and in fact, the protection which we have seen is given to husbands is just a legal fiction that was created at the time when it was considered, when it was not. There were no provisions as far as equality or right to life are concerned. And now the debate has already shifted, and I believe it is time again to have a relook at the law.
All right. So don't you think that we can also make do by enlarging the scope of uh, Domestic Violence Act, and instead of
Hmm.
recognizing it as a separate offense?
So domestic violence act, as far as it is concerned, it is like equating, which is a crime. Again, it is diminishing the crime that is happening just so that it could be taken out from the ambit of law. Say, for example, rape laws in India are not gender neutral even. So if a rape like activity happens to a male person concerned, it is not called a rape. So that is something, again, criminal laws are being relooked into, and calling it a domestic violence is just a misnomer. And a crime should be, as the Karnataka High Court has said, an act is an act, a crime is a crime, and therefore it should be called so.
All right. Do you think that if there is a marital rape as a separate offense, do you think there is need to make it gender neutral?
I believe, sir, because I uphold the values of equality, and marital rape should in fact be made gender neutral.
You have done your schooling from St. Anthony's School.
Yes, sir.
Who was St. Anthony?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware about but he was a high priest. Only that is as far as I know.
Okay. You have been reading books on productivity and efficiency. Can you tell me some last books that you have read?
Sir, at the moment, I'm reading 10x by Grant Cardone. And before that, I read The Productivity Project by Chris Bailey, and a couple of books by Tony Buzan, who was a cognitive expert. And then a few books by Tony Robbins. And Habit by Charles Duhigg is another book that I really like.
All right, Anjali. So I want you to take a moment and think and tell me five of the best lessons that you have learned. I hope you would have learned something from these books. So tell me five of the best lessons across all the books that you have read that you would like to share with them.
Can I take a note? Because five would be hard to remember. Sir, the five most important lessons that I have learned are: first is about the intention behind doing things. So once people are clear with the goals, exactly why do they want to be productive? When clarity about purpose is there, then people are much more likely to stay productive over long term, over long period time frames. Next one is about the value of highlight, recognizing the important tasks that are very high return, as in give good return to effort ratio is better there. So we must highlight, for example, the productivity project talks about highlighting the three most important tasks that you want done in a day, and then do those first before starting anything else. The same goes for a week, for a month, and for a year. The next one is about removing distractions. So we could have plans all set, but if there are reasons for us to be distracted, we might be distracted. For example, therefore, it is important to remove anything that distracts you, which could be mobile phones or friends or people. So a little bit of seclusion is good. Next one is about focusing when a person is highly energetic, or also focusing upon, let's say, strength, on exercising and eating right, so that the feeling of laziness or the body should also support the mind. And the last one is about change in habits. So because 60 to 70% of things we do on a regular basis are just habits. So if we cultivate better habits, we are much more likely to be productive without even realizing.
Very good, Anjali. All right. Anjali, do you think India's stand on the Ukraine crisis has been morally right?
So, as far as Indian stand on Ukrainian crisis is concerned, it is guided by national interests, and foreign concerns might not be very moral, so to say, because of relations that have to be, because interests have to be balanced at the global scale. So if it is only about morality, I believe we could have done something more. And we already have done. For example, we are providing aid to Ukraine and also talking with Russia, and also we have come forward this stance that we are willing to act as a mediator between the two if they would like it.
Anjali, what are the major challenges before Uttar Pradesh as a state today?
So one of the major challenges that stands out is lack of industrialization or ease of doing business, which I believe UP has been having a silent transformation in this state, and it is going through a better phase now. Second is about HDI indicators, because in UP we have seen the health and education status could be much more developed, considering that it is the state having the largest amount of population. The third is, I believe there are low-hanging fruits that Uttar Pradesh has not utilized. For example, it is the largest grain producer, but there are less food processing industries, and also there is much scope for tourism, especially religious and historical tourism. So that could also be exploited.
Why do you want to join civil services, Anjali?
So joining civil services is a reason. The reason is because at a young age, it does offer a lot of responsibility, and with responsibility also comes growth, personal growth, as well as fulfillment for being. Second reason is while studying law in my university, I did come across a lot of social issues and problems that people face when coming in contact with law and governance. So that is something that I developed more interest in civil services, and I believe I could be a good asset to the nation.
All right, Anjali. Uh, One last question. What do you think are the qualities that are essential for a good civil servant?
First would be courage, the ability to carry out the duties with full faith and honesty. Second would be compassion, should be able to understand the problems that people face and to be proactive in dealing with those. And third word would be, believe, persistent in putting in efforts, showing up regularly and doing the duties that you have to.
All right, Anjali, your interview is over.
Yes. Thank you, sir.